So tell us about your film. Like, how did it come to be? How did you end up coming up with the idea? Especially with everything kind of going on now, the spotlight's on social issues.
Yeah.
So like, as a female filmmaker, as a Bahamian, and as a filmmaker, like, tell us about your movie.
Yeah, so first off, if you guys haven't seen it, Meliora is a short experimental film that focuses on the issues girls go through as they grow up in a male dominated society. Um, it all the stories in the film are real stories from real women, either in my life or I made like a Google form when I was starting to make the film script, and I sent it out to like just a bunch of random women who I barely know, and I was like, hey, if you have stories to share about the hardships you face and you don't want to say it like from yourself, do it anonymously, because I'm making this film. um, so a lot of them I don't actually know who they came from, but a lot of it was just like talking to my friends and ranting about everything and me taking notes in the corner.
Mhm.
um, and I ended up just choosing 10 that I thought, like, the three main issues covered in the film are body image, sexual assault, and then just like basic gender inequality. So I just chose 10 that I felt covered that in like a more broad way. Um, and it was important to me that the stories in the film aren't all like really major moments in a girl's life. Like, I don't know, your mom asking your dad if you can wear a certain pair of shoes isn't like something that'll define you forever. But those stories build up to, like, affect who you are as you go through life. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's,
No,
yeah.
super cool. Yeah, I remember you had sent it to me not long after we had met, and one of the first things I had noticed about it, because I watched it through about 2 or 3 times, is how honest it was, and it did really feel like real stories. Like oftentimes, you come across films and videos where it's a voice, but you can tell it's
Yeah.
not really, it's not real. It's not something that normal people kind of go through. But that's definitely something that jumped out to me right out the gate. And with that being, I guess, such a timely film, what has the response been like so far? Like, how have people been taking it? Because like there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
But it's still an important movie. So what are some things you've been kind of hearing about it from people? Because I know you were kind of like on the fence about what you should do with it, like whether or not you're going to
Yeah, I
release
wasn't
it.
sure like when I should post it, when was a good time with everything happening right now, but I was like, you know what? I made this a year ago. I'm just going to post it and see what happens. And the response has been so good. I'm really happy about it. And one of the main things that I'm super happy about is a ton of women, even like people I don't know, have been commenting or messaging me saying that like it reminded them of their childhood, and just like starting a dialogue about what they went through and how it relates back to the film. Because that was like one of my main goals, is I wanted to make something authentic that any woman at least could relate to. Um, and I feel like I kind of succeeded. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have gotten some comments and stuff from men who are like, I feel like I have no right to say anything about this, but this was like really powerful and eye opening for me as a man to like understand how small moments can add up. And I was like, good. That was the goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is super super awesome, and you can make a film that, or make any piece of art really, that people can kind of watch and be like, yeah, no, like I get it. Um,
Yeah.
what was that process like making such a transparent film? Because making a movie is hard. Like I
Yeah.
feel like everybody has like movies that they want to make, movies that they want to film, movies that they want to direct, and so on. But like it's tough to kind of sit down and be like, yeah, I'm gonna finally make this movie. And I know you said this part of your thesis for
Yeah.
Drexel, so like
Hmm.
you kind of had to do it.
Yeah.
But you also could have done like a simple drama short in an apartment, So
Yeah.
what was that process like, kind of going from, I don't know if I want to do this, to like, no, I'm gonna film this thesis idea like no matter what, because I know that must have been difficult.
Yeah. So I had one other idea for my thesis that was equally as complicated, but just on a different topic. So I picked to do this topic pretty early on. Like, I think I started writing it a year before the beginning of my senior year. So I was really just focusing on the script for a long, long time during it. And I don't know, it was complicated, but it wasn't as complicated as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really good. And I feel like because the film is such a universal experience and it's something everyone can be like, yes, that is a thing that happens. This is a film that's important. The whole crew and cast and everyone in my department was super supportive of it. So that was just really good. I had a lot of people supporting me, which was nice.
Nice.
I would say the most complicated part was that with there being 10 different scenes, 10, different groups of actors or actresses, there was just a lot of like eggs in my basket to balance around, We had, I think in the whole thing, there's like 26 actors or something. And like a ton of them dropped very last minute, like the days before their scenes and stuff. So that was the most complicated part, was all the actors. But to me, that was really important to try to capture that this is like a universal experience. Like I didn't want it just to follow one or two girls.
How did you go about kind of visually determining what you wanted for each vignette? Because since it's not like necessarily one straight narrative, it's more vignettes into a story that form a bigger story. Like that's a lot of visual kind of boxes you got to pack, So how did you kind of approach each one visually to be like, oh, like these are distinct. They kind of form one cohesive narrative, but like, for me as a DP, this is how I kind of want to think about it.
Yeah. So first of all, pre-production is the most important thing ever. Like I would have never been able to direct and DP this if we hadn't done as much pre-production as we did, which was a whole lot. But because this was my thesis, I was like, why not, mess around with visual styles a little bit, especially since I have these 10 individual stories, which is why like the last one, the party one, is a one take scene. And then we messed around like with the silhouette thing. That's something I'd never tried before. So it was really cool to me to be able to like explore something different in every single vignette, kind of visually. And then the main thing that links them is that I wanted the main girl in each scene to be getting older, so you can tell like it's supposed to kind of be one story. And then the other thing was just the color palette was the thing that made it feel cohesive to me. So that was a lot of my production designer like choosing colors, and I was like, yeah, that seems good. Good job. But yeah, so visually, my favorite scene that we got to try something new with is that silhouette one with the white screen behind them. Just because that one was also the most difficult. Like we had to do like test runs of that scene before it was the shooting day for that scene. And it was just like a really cool thing I hadn't thought of doing before, but I got the chance just to do it for this, which was cool.